Hello everyone, Freemantle here. The liberal wants to make people equal in satisfying what he calls their basic needs. And he wants their basic needs to be satisfied to the extent that people are equal in having them satisfied. Normal welfare state redistributions, as the liberal calls them, are means to those two ends. He believes he has reasons to justify these redistributions that are very strong, so strong that any logical and impartial person has to agree that, yeah, everybody should have bread before anybody has cake, and we should shift wealth around to make sure that that happens. In today's video, I want to take a look at those reasons. This video is more complex than most I post, but if we're going to size up liberalism, we have to understand the liberal's reasons for what he believes and says and does. And a great deal rests on his principle that everybody should have bread before anybody has cake, which I call his basic needs principle. If you could only pick one principle to represent the scheme of things in the ideal liberal society, that would be the one. The liberal's basic needs principle says, the basic needs of any person should be taken care of before any other needs or desires of anybody are taken care of. Into this principle, the moral heart of the welfare state, flow your moral and legal obligations to others. From the basic needs principle, pump your moral and legal entitlements from them. And in this circulation of obligations and entitlements, a person has his reasonable expectations of what he can do and have and be in liberal society. It is very important that we understand how good the reasons are for the basic needs principle. I'll add this, though. It's much easier to read some arguments than to listen to them. So I've posted a PDF version of the script for this video on my Facebook page, facebook.com/pages/Freemantle. You might want to run through the argument with this video, then read the PDF, and I'll give you the URL again at the end of the video. Again, the basic needs principle we're going to examine is, the basic needs of any person should be satisfied before other needs or desires of anyone are satisfied. Let's start by being clear what the liberal means when he says basic needs. I'm going to run through these pretty quickly. First, the basic needs are those that have to be satisfied in order for a person to live a good life. They're basic to enjoying the most important things in life. Second, the liberal says that the basic needs are the same for everybody at some level of generality. Third, basic needs are not some fixed list of needs. They're just the most important of the unsatisfied needs on the liberals' list at the moment. As higher priority needs are satisfied, lower priority needs or desires move up into the basic needs category. Fourth, because the basic needs are not fixed, it follows that they may be easier or tougher to satisfy than other needs or desires. There is no reason to think the basic needs would all be among the easier ones to satisfy by redistribution. So contrary to what we hear from the liberal, the basic needs do not necessarily require only a little from everyone. Depends on the need. Fifth, one person's basic need can be met, at least to some extent, by using somebody else's resources. Otherwise, the liberal wouldn't be trying to satisfy basic needs through redistribution. And finally, some needs said to be basic are not products of individual choice. They're just part of what it is to be genetically a human being, or part of what in the liberals' view is needed by any person as such. For example, food and shelter, which usually show up on the list of basic needs. We don't choose to need food and shelter. We just do because we're human beings. The liberal has reasons. He has an argument why he believes the basic needs of all should be satisfied first. I'm going to give you the argument, and then I'm going to explain why it fails. 5 steps to the argument. First step. The liberal's first step is to try to show that meeting the basic needs has higher priority for anybody than achieving what I call a person's higher aspirations. So in any person we have basic needs and we have higher aspirations. I'm going to agree with the liberal in this step. I'm going to assume that the basic needs are the same for everybody. They can be distinguished from other needs or desires, which I'm calling higher aspirations. And a person's desire to satisfy his higher aspirations is the reason he dislikes liberal redistributions. He's the target for redistribution, and he doesn't want to be redistributed from. He wants to satisfy his higher aspirations. So, I agree with the liberal in ranking the two aims like this for any person. Satisfying the higher aspirations, that actually has lower priority. Satisfying the basic needs, that has higher priority. This means that a person is going to try to satisfy his basic needs before he tries to satisfy his higher aspirations. And if he has to, he'll give up his aspirations to satisfy his basic needs. Step 2. All persons are the same when it comes to the basic needs, which we just agreed to. So logically, they have to be considered or dealt the same when it comes to the basic needs. They're the same when it comes to the basic needs, so they have to be treated the same when it comes to the basic needs. Yes, that's correct. It's just a matter of logic. Step 3. Since you and anyone else are the same in the basic needs, and in ranking them higher than your aspirations, you can't say only that meeting your basic needs is more important than satisfying your higher aspirations. You have to say that in anybody's case, it's more important to satisfy basic needs than to satisfy higher aspirations. Step 4. But if basic needs are unsatisfied in Sam, while only the higher aspirations are unsatisfied in you, Sam's entitlement must come ahead of yours. Step 5. You then have to concede that what would only satisfy your higher aspirations ought to be redistributed to Sam, whose basic needs are unsatisfied. Let's run through the argument again more roughly, but a little more quickly so you can get the whole argument. Satisfying the basic needs has higher priority for anyone than satisfying other desires. Since everyone is the same in the basic needs, everybody has to be considered the same or treated the same when it comes to the basic needs. So satisfying the basic needs for anyone is more important than satisfying any other desires for anyone. So we all have to agree that goods ought to be redistributed as necessary in order to satisfy basic needs ahead of other needs or desires. What should we make of this liberal argument? It doesn't work. And with it goes his justification for to each according to his need. Because if, as we are supposing, a person always chooses to meet his basic needs before meeting his higher aspirations, meeting his higher aspirations can't compromise and could even incorporate satisfying his basic needs. At the same time, a person would give up his higher aspirations if he had to in order to meet his basic needs. So in priority we have, to say it again, meeting your higher aspirations alone, that's low. Meeting your basic needs alone, that's higher priority. But still higher in priority must be satisfying both your higher aspirations and your basic needs together. It's good to meet basic needs, and it's good to satisfy higher aspirations, so adding them up, it must be better to satisfy both than to satisfy either one alone. Therefore, a person's resources should be used to satisfy higher aspirations together with basic needs before they're used to satisfy basic needs alone. So if you can use your resources to meet your higher aspirations and meet your basic needs, you should use them to do so instead of Sam's using them to meet his basic needs alone. The liberal's justification for his welfare state redistributions fails. The takeaway from today's video. The basic needs argument, which the liberal uses to justify redistributing from some people to others, doesn't work. For by extending the liberal's own reasoning, a person who can satisfy his basic needs and his higher aspirations together should do so before other people get to use them to satisfy their basic needs alone. What about the needy, you say? That's the subject in several other videos, so keep listening. Again, a fuller PDF version of the script for this video with some more detail is available for free download in an album at my Facebook page. That's facebook.com/pages/Freemantle. Thank you for listening.